back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. This is a community resilience, mental health as social control series where I am reading my master's thesis to you. I'm deciding to go ahead and start chapter 1. I'm going to be breaking each chapter up into varying segments because each chapter has like subsections. So I'm going to go ahead and try and get through chapter 1 today, and then we'll just keep going. But I have to do this because this is like over 15 pages and I'm not reading that full through. So chapter 1 is entitled The State of the Union versus Peace of Mind. And then my quotes, making you think you're crazy is $1 billion industry. If they could sell sanity in a bottle, they'd be charging for compressed air, which is the song lyric from the song Slow Down Gandhi by Sage Francis. Legion of Doom did a really good mashup of that. And then the second quote for this chapter is from Angela Davis, OG Black Panther. All right, we have to talk about liberating minds as well as liberating society. So I'm going to read the beginning part of chapter 1, and then I'm going to come back and do another video on the subsection. This chapter presents a basis for understanding the current mental health model as a corrupt force in the United States through an exploration of the creation and implementation of the American Psychiatric Association's Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders and the burgeoning group of the pharmaceutical and prison industries on citizens. I can't say that, the bourgeois. I didn't say that correctly. Following this investigation of the United States' failed mental health model, this chapter will suggest other proven means to treat mental illness. The basis of the current mental health model in the United States is economic gain for the corporations through the invention, manufacturing, and distribution of pharmaceuticals. In the early 1980s, the Global West, headed by Margaret Thatcher in Great Britain and Ronald Reagan in the United States, implemented austerity politics rooted in neoliberal capitalism that resulted in the federal government cutting funding for public and social services. Geographer, scholar, and social theorist, and the author of A Brief History of Neoliberalism, David Harvey defines neoliberalism as the first instance a theory of political economic practices that proposes that human well-being can best be advanced by liberating individual entrepreneurial freedoms and skills within an institutional framework characterized by strong private property rights, free markets, and free trade. Harvey goes on to explain how the Reagan administration used neoliberalism to campaign against big government and deregulated everything from airlines and telecommunications that opened up new zones of untrammeled market freedoms for powerful corporate interests. This change in policies and practices paved the way for power that is more corporate and less agenic. I don't know what that means. Yes, this is my paper, which resulted in the expansion of control by pharmaceutical companies. One outcome of this conservative economic regime was the closure of mental health institutions and care centers around the nation, leaving patients homeless, displaced, and without necessary treatment. Almost overnight, jails and prisons replaced mental health institutions as the main means of support for the mentally ill and fostered an expanding narrative rooted in dehumanization and promoted the criminalization of mental illness. For example, Chicago's Cook County Jail holds over 9,000 inmates, making it the largest correctional and mental health facility in the United States of America. This example of a perfect storm of neoliberal cuts to community and health services, affordable housing projects, and state psychiatric institutions highlights how prisons currently serve as America's largest mental health care provider. The belief those living with mental illness are criminals is upheld through legal codifying that concretizes, the idea the only way to treat mental illness is through taking medications, which leaves those who are unable to pay for medication with little to no say in their treatment. Under the current big pharma regime, Those who cannot pay their way out of mental illness are increasingly surveilled, dehumanized, criminalized, militarized, and incarcerated. Harvey writes, the role of the state is to create and preserve an institutional framework appropriate to such practices. The state has to guarantee, for example, the quality and integrity of money. It must also set up those military, defense, police, and legal structures and functions required to secure private property rights and to guarantee, by force if need be, the proper functioning of markets. The role of the state and the integrity of the relationship of the United States government and the current mental health model must be challenged. Okay, I'm going to end this here because then we're going to go into the diagnostic and statistical manuals of mental disorders. Have a good one.